And now on RikksFlix, I've reached out for a bit of a help from a friend from Clayton because Stan is somewhere I haven't really gone, but Clayton is all over it like a rash. How are you, Clayton?
I am doing okay. I don't have any rashes, so I'm all good. But I enjoy
Not the ones
stands.
we can see anyway.
Exactly, and I'm taking medication for it. But I enjoy the stands, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan. How many stands is there? You would know, surely.
There is quite a few. I referred to... I got in trouble during an election campaign referring to Kilburnistan in the northern part of Adelaide. But if you've been to Kilburnistan, you know exactly what I mean.
Absolutely.
And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense.
Yes, it's one of those streets and neighbourhoods that you go through and you're just making sure everything's locked and windows are up. And you want to get through there as quickly as possible. Have you noticed a lot of people get caught speeding through that area?
Well, I don't know why, because the petrol station there is one of the cheapest in Adelaide. So if you're ever in the area, that's the reason you go to Kilburnistan is to get cheap petrol.
Get in and get out quickly. We're way off topic. We need to get back.
Let's back to the Stan. Clayton, what have you been enjoying on Stan?
It is a great streaming service, along with Netflix and Disney and Paramount. They're all there. But Stan's kind of the poor cousin, I feel. It gets overlooked a fair bit, which I think is really sad. I've been with Stan for a long time now because I work for Fairfax, and we were encouraged to get involved and be involved with Stan.
So what's the connectivity between commercial TV and Stan? Because it gets heavily promoted on free-to-air TV, so it must have some linkage.
Yeah, there was a link with Channel 9, and Fairfax and 9 had an arrangement, and that had something to do with Stan when Stan was also an offshoot of a UK thing called Dave.
Yep, that's it.
And so they kind of linked together. I just wonder where they come up with the names. I mean, to me, if it was in Australia, why not call it Baz? Or Gaz, it would have...
Or Davo. Davo.
If it was Davo, it would have worked. It really would have. We would have embraced it. But they called it Stan, and everyone went, what's Stan?
Yeah, I had a great uncle called Stan who was a lovely man, but I wouldn't associate him with a streaming network.
Or anything technological. Now, Stan, if you haven't checked it out, you can go on there, you can get a 30-day free trial. At the end, you can pull out if you want to, or you can enjoy it. But I think have a look. If you do decide to continue, you can get it from as little as $10 a month, and it has HD 4K options. You can watch it offline, download. You can get up to 4 individual screens and all that. So I'm doing their sales pitch for them. But
yep, last time we talked about Stan, the James Bonds were all on Stan.
They're off now. They've taken them off, which really sore point Stan people, because I wanted to watch them in the Daniel Craig order before going to see No Time to Die. Oh, no. And I can't do that now.
Is that because Court said recently on Breakfast his next James Bond's going to be non-binary? Is it become controversial now and they've dropped James Bond?
Didn't know she said that, but... yeah, I thought it was going to be, James Bondette. That's what I thought it was going to be.
Apparently not. It's all going to be very woke going forward. But that's what's off of Stan. What's on Stan, Clayton?
Well, there is lots on Stan. Just to give you, and Stan's great for kids. That's one thing. And if you talk to Court, she'll tell you that Stan is great for kids. It has got a huge array of programs and series that kids can watch, and because of the profiles you can set up, you can have just the kids, they can take charge and watch it in their bedroom while you're watching something else on Stan somewhere else. So that's one of the things that they do. So
it's definitely got a 2 people can be watching at once.
Yes, up to 4.
Because I'm a cheapskate with Netflix. I've only got the one subscription, and my kids and I have run into that. But Disney Plus and Amazon Prime, no such problem. But Stan, you can both be watching at once.
Correct. Your kids can be watching it, and you can be watching it. It can happen. You can be watching different things, and you can also be downloading something at the same time as well. They've really worked that out. So
good for the multitaskers. Good.
It is, and it's great. You can add stuff to your list, and you can just tick things off. If you see something, well, I'm not going to watch it today, but if I add it to my list, you know where it is, which is where all the Bond films were until they decided to get rid of them.
So what's the big ticket one on Stan? Is Yellowstone, is that really the big one right now?
I'm getting to that. You're rushing me along, and I'm feeling rushed because I've got to mention Stan Sport, which is the other thing, but that only has rugby and European Champions League if you're into that sort of thing. They also have Stan exclusives, Australian cinema and TV that you don't get anywhere else, docos, general documentaries, the best of British. You love your Top Gear?
Ah, yes.
They have got Top Gear Series 1 all the way through. All with the holy trinity of Jeremy, Richard, and Captain Slow.
My son's got ahead of me on Amazon Prime watching the Grand Tour, which is sort of where they've kicked on from here. But the classic stuff with the Stig is there.
With the Stig, it is all there to watch, and all the other British dramas that they do so well that the Americans try, but they just... You can't wrap everything up in 42 minutes. You just got to understand that, guys. It has international TV, international movies. The reality section, I just go straight past. Do you like the Tom Clancy novels?
I have enjoyed the movie adaptations. I don't confess to be reading.
They're all there. And Star Trek, all the Star Trek series, New Generation or Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, they're all there. All the movies, Star Trek's there. Now, interesting thought. I've kind of realised, and I had this discussion with my cousin. Now, I feel you can join in because you love your Star Wars and your Star Trek. The reason you cannot find a lot of Star Trek Lego is because they're not really haven't done a lot with it. But Star Wars embraced it. There was
that
the Star Wars movie.
That is an interesting point. I've never seen a Klingon Lego.
There was some. Now, I was trying to find them because my cousin said he saw them, so I wanted to call him to action on that, and I couldn't find any. But he says he's seen it, and he's going to try and find it for me as well. But I think that's why Star Wars, the popularity is so huge, because of this connection with Lego and getting that Death Star.
There's always been, under George Lucas, even back then, there's the action figures. I had them when I was at school. Yep. They always went down that commercialisation path. For some reason, Star Trek never really went hard down that appealing to kids element. It was almost an adult's sci-fi. And even the themology of what they go into in Star Trek is very almost sort of social issues and political issues wrapped up in a space conflict. It's a much more intellectual one, which I think why some people prefer Star Trek.
But I'd like to see a Lego version of the Enterprise or a Klingon bird of prey. But it just made me think. It just made me think that could be something there, and a discussion for another day. It's got spaghetti westerns. It's all there. Now, I did notice when I was going through, it's got Green Lantern. So
I thought Deadpool shot Green Lantern.
Green Lantern is on Stan, so you can find it. Now, where does Green Lantern fit in the Marvel timeline? I'm trying to work that out.
Wow. You deliberately did that, didn't you? You know that Green Lantern is a DC property, don't you? Oh my God, I'm Robinson Crusoe here at Flow. Does anyone care?
It was too good an opportunity. I just had to do it. I had to do it. I saw it there. All right, on to things streaming with Stan right now. One of the things is that you've seen it on TV. It is the movie Christmas at the Farm, stars Poppy Montgomery, Darren McMullen, Hugh Sheridan. I have watched this. It's great for... There it is. It's popped onto my screen right now. It's great to watch with the family. It is a good family Christmas film to watch.
An Aussie one?
It's an Aussie one.
Yep.
And it is a good film. It's typical Christmas Hallmark fodder.
Is it filmed in Hobart? It's got snow.
It's filmed in, I think, overseas and here. I think it was filmed in both places.
I think it's an Aussie film and it's got snow and it's about Christmas.
But it's there. They've got the marvellous technology in these studios now. They can film anything. But it's worth persevering through. I would just leave it at that. I was
it's a good feel-good Christmas film on Stan.
Yeah, I was watching it with my wife and started to realise that maybe the lounge room needed some painting done, but that was another thing. So I'll leave that up to you to watch it and enjoy. You can watch it with Granny and she'll have a good time with it as well. Now, Yellowstone. The new series of Yellowstone has dropped, and if you're not up to date with it, then you can go back to season 1 and watch it all the way through. I find watching Yellowstone very intense after 3 or 4 episodes because of everything going on. You need a bit of a break, but that's just how I'm finding it. But it is great to watch with Kevin Costner. It is so well done, and it just makes you think about America a little bit, but it is a great series.
Kevin Costner is a bit of a national treasure for America. I know there was
suited to it.
He made this appearance at the Field of Dreams where they played a Major League Baseball game. It was a big emotional moment for America. Yeah. Field of Dreams has been sort of this every farmer's sort of dream of if you build it, they will come, mate, almost.
He ploughed down his cornfield and built a baseball diamond in it. Yep. It's a great film. Others with Yellowstone you can watch, and friends of ours, they're starting to let me know that I've got to catch up because they're giving me spoilers for what's coming. But watch Yellowstone; it is really worth watching. Zoe's Extraordinary Christmas is another Christmas movie you can watch. Haven't seen that yet, but that's worth watching. There is Landscapers, which with Olivia Colman and David Trewallis, who's from. He played one of the characters in Harry Potter. He was one of the professors. It's inspired by real events about an elderly couple in love and enjoying bodies in the backyard.
Wow.
I'll leave it at that, but it is so well done, and if you want to know why Olivia Colman's won an Oscar, you can see it in this series. There is one which just popped up on our screen a sec, The Great. It's the rise of Catherine from Catherine the Nothing to Catherine the Great. It stars Elle Fanning and Nicholas Hoult. apart from the language, which they drop every word and a few new ones, it is funny as. It is worth watching, but just be careful with kids and all that, and the language is a bit of an issue. Bump is a great Australian drama. It is coming back on Boxing Day, starting with Season 2. Watch Season 1. We're going to binge that because that was brilliant, very well acted. Claudia Carvan is in it, and she plays an incredible role. It is just great.
And the premise of the film is a teenage pregnancy at school or something?
Yeah, a teenage girl at school. She gets pregnant and then keeping the baby, and her mother is also a teacher there and having to deal with it all. It is just full on. Now, the final thing I want to mention to you, as I know we're running out of time, is one called Knitram, which is actually Martin backwards. This is the one about Port Arthur. And I haven't seen the film. It's ready to watch on Stan right now. But just watching the trailer and the first 2 minutes of the film, I understand why it's got 5 stars and everyone is raving about it. But I think just be prepared for what's going to be, because it is a little confronting. Every review I've read of it, they have said that it is very confronting. It is so brilliantly done. And I dare say if there were Oscars, this would be the Oscar-winning film, hands down. But word of warning, you need to be prepared for what's going to be in this film and what it's about and the issues that it's going to be confronting. Be prepared for that. Watch the trailer first, and if you feel that's for you, continue on.
It's almost like lifting the scar tissue on Australia. The 1990s, that was the defining event of the 90s in Australia.
And it is kind of ripping the Band-Aid off. But it is very confronting. But check it all out. Go to stan.com.au, and there's other great things on there as well. The Tourist, there is another one called Wolf Like Me, and Saturn 11 is another one that's coming up there, or it's on there at the moment. Check out Stan. I encourage you to do so. I think it's worth having a look at, and I actually watch it more than Netflix, but that's just me.